Some institutions survive for centuries, others become legends. Nevermore Academy? It's both. Founded in 1791 in Vermont, this goes far beyond your typical boarding school. We're talking about an institution built on land that once belonged to Joseph Crackstone, a man whose death came at the hands of Wednesday Addams' ancestor, Goody Addams. Nathaniel Faulkner didn't just found a school here. He created a place for everyone the world called monsters, freaks, the condemned. But within these walls, they got a different name: outcasts. Werewolves learning control, vampires studying alongside sirens, shapeshifters perfecting their abilities next to psychics developing their visions, aviary outcasts mastering unique gifts, students with invisibility like Agnes DeMille, Da Vinci telekinetics moving objects with their minds. Every single one found something at Nevermore that went beyond education. They found identity, but this was never some perfect story. Every stone in this place carries scars. Every corridor tells of triumphs and something more. Secret societies formed, ancient knowledge was buried, and decisions still echo through the halls. More than a school history, it's a chronicle, a living record as mysterious and complex as the students who walk its halls. America, 1791. Young and divided. Puritanism mixed with post-revolution chaos. The perfect storm for persecution. Enter Joseph Crackstone. Not just a zealot, an executioner. His mission: extermination. Anyone with abilities, anyone who defied his order. His reign didn't end quietly. When Crackstone's crusade threatened to erase not just outcasts, but anyone who dared shelter or defend them, Wednesday's ancestor Goody Addams struck him down, and the ground he stained became the foundation for something revolutionary. Nathaniel Faulkner, scholar, visionary, bought Crackstone's cursed land and defied history, built a school for the persecuted, a place where the hunted would rise as the powerful. The name Nevermore honored the forgotten. Decades later, when Edgar Allan Poe walked its halls, the connection to his most famous word became legend, prophecy, or inspiration. Even the Nightshade's archives don't say. From its first breath, Nevermore faced a fundamental challenge: protecting outcasts while preparing them to thrive in the world beyond its gates. Nevermore isn't just stone and mortar. It's a history book carved into arches and hidden passages. At its center, Poe's statue. More than a tribute, a mechanism. Snap twice in rhythm and the ground opens. Beneath lies the Nightshade's library, the greatest collection of outcast knowledge on Earth. Shape-shifting manuals refined over centuries. Genealogies of psychic bloodlines. Anatomical studies of creatures science refuses to name. The Nightshades were never just a student club. For 2 centuries, they've acted as the outcast world's hidden intelligence network. The dorms speak too. Ophelia Hall for Shakespeare's doomed heroine. Puck, Caliban, Thisbe, echoes of complexity and tragedy. Forbidden spaces hold the darker truths. Bradbury Tower, once a containment block for hides. An entire tower to isolate one outcast type. What does that say about acceptance even here? And Raven Island, where Crackstone's tomb looms like a warning. Students still make pilgrimages, some to honor the lost, others to ensure he never rises again. Nevermore's defining events aren't activities, they're legacies born from pain. Poe Cup. Teams race to Raven Island in boats inspired by his works. Winners often return with stories, visions, whispers, sensations that the contest taps something deeper. Raven should be celebration, but tragedy branded it. The 1990 incident with Gomez Addams and Garrett Gates ended in death and cover-up, yet it endures. Tradition refusing erasure by fear. Founder's Pyre. Beyond ceremony, it's unity forged in flame. Unspoken customs shape the culture, seniors guiding first transformations. Quiet mentorships across outcast lines, underground channels helping families find the missing. Day to day, Nevermore is a working academy with its own approach to education. Curriculum extends beyond standard academics. Werewolves chart lunar cycles. Psychics study probability to interpret visions. Sirens take specialized acoustics with music theory. The regular library holds one of the world's deepest collections on outcast history, supernatural biology, and cultural ability studies. Students research lineages, track the evolution of their powers, and study global outcast communities. Graduates establish outcast communities in major cities, influence normie legislation on supernatural rights, and advance research into genetic, metaphysical, and paranormal origins of abilities. Nevermore maintains connections with similar institutions worldwide, though it remains the oldest and most prestigious among them, sharing best practices for safety, education, and integration strategies. Most importantly, it functions as cultural preservation. Each outcast type brings centuries of tradition that would vanish without institutional protection. Nevermore doesn't just educate individuals, it preserves entire cultures. The school isn't only a fortress of lore, it's a living archive where knowledge itself becomes survival. Beyond the gates lies Jericho, a town that's watched Nevermore with suspicion for 2 centuries. Picture this: small New England community built on Pilgrim heritage, complete with Pilgrim World theme park, celebrating the very history that once persecuted outcasts. The irony cuts deep. Economically, Jericho depends on the school. Students shop at the Weather Vane, eat at local restaurants, bring money into the community. Culturally, fear runs deeper. Families pass down whispers through generations, tales of strange incidents, unexplained events, students who seem just a little too different. Every household carries stories about what really happens behind those academy walls. The weather vane became neutral ground, one of the few places where normie and outcast teens could coexist, even with tensions always simmering beneath the surface. Authority figures reveal the real dynamic. Sheriff Galpin and his predecessors walked a delicate line for decades, maintaining order while dealing with incidents that don't fit normal police reports. How do you file paperwork on a werewolf transformation or a psychic episode? The relationship fractured completely during Wednesday Addams' time at school. Hyde attacks, Thornhill's manipulation, festival chaos. Every fear Jericho ever harbored about their outcast neighbors seemed justified. Now, under Barry Dort's isolationist approach, that fragile coexistence faces its severest test. Hard truth, even outcasts can turn on their own. 1993, the Hyde ban. One of Nevermore's most divisive choices. Hyde's labeled unstable, dangerous, irredeemable, driven more by fear than evidence. They became outcasts among outcasts. The same logic normies used to justify persecution now echoed within these walls. Politics kept reshaping the school's soul. Larissa Weems' era represented the most ambitious bridge-building attempt. Joint events, outreach programs, genuine coexistence efforts. Raven N went public. Nevermore students participated in Jericho's outreach day. For a brief moment, integration seemed achievable. Then came Marilyn Thornhill, a normie infiltrator with genocidal intent. She exploited trust, manipulated vulnerable students, and nearly succeeded in mass destruction. Weems died stopping her, but the damage was irreversible. The Wednesday era proved that openness always carries risks. After Wednesday, Addams uncovered the school's darkest secrets. Everything shifted. Barry Dort's rise marked a new philosophy. No more integration, no more bridges. Isolation, fortress mentality. Gates that once opened for community events now stay firmly closed. The eternal question remains: protection or openness, fear or trust? It's the same dilemma every Nevermore generation must face. Fear has always been the true headmaster of Nevermore. Centuries leave scars, and Nevermore, it has more than its share. Students vanished into the night, never to return. Some were dismissed as runaways, others were whispered to have uncovered truths too dangerous to survive, but the reality runs deeper than anyone suspected. Decades ago, Dr. Augustus Stonehurst arrived at Nevermore as a science teacher, officially the first normie faculty member in the school's history. But this fact would later be erased from all records. When Larissa Weems claimed Marilyn Thornhill was the first normie teacher decades later, the question remains: did she not know the truth? Or was there a reason to bury it? Stonehurst created Project Lois with a terrifying goal: strip outcast abilities to their essence and recreate them in normies. But he needed subjects. Outcasts began disappearing from Nevermore, only to be declared dead in official documents sent from Willow Hill Psychiatric Facility. They were never seen again. The destroyed tower that still stands as a crumbling reminder? The truth behind its destruction runs deeper than most realize. A brilliant student with a fragile heart once conducted dangerous experiments in that tower. He had created a mechanical heart to survive, but his ambition led him to push boundaries that shouldn't be crossed. One experiment went catastrophically wrong, killing him. His body was buried beneath the skull tree. Years later, when Pugsley Addams accidentally sent an electrical surge into that same ground, what was buried awakened. The student returned as the creature known as Slurp, a walking reminder that the line between life, death, and technology had been crossed long before Project Lois began. The tower's destruction wasn't an accident. It was a cover-up after Stonehurst's experiment spiraled beyond control. His very existence was erased from Nevermore's official history. But the sealed archives remain, files locked even to the nightshades. Prophecies from seers across centuries landed with terrifying accuracy. Others still wait in the dark to unfold. And what lies beneath the school goes beyond even the nightshade's library. Students report dreams that seem to originate from something deeper, something alive, something that might still be connected to Stonehurst's work. Nevermore is more than a school. It mirrors its students, powerful and persecuted, yet unbroken. Like its outcasts, Nevermore bears the weight of persecution and the strength forged through survival. It stands between worlds, never fully accepted by either, never willing to disappear entirely. Its connection to literature, Shakespeare's tragic misfits, Poe's eternal raven, represents more than coincidence. Art has always served as the outcast's most powerful weapon against erasure. Above all, Nevermore represents hope. Not naive optimism, but survival transformed into resistance. Community forged from defiance, difference cultivated into strength. 2 centuries later, the mission hasn't changed. Through tragedies and constant reinvention, one truth endures: Nevermore survives. Because in a world designed to erase you, survival itself becomes victory. And for outcasts everywhere, Nevermore proves that the strange will not merely survive, they will thrive. I'm Raphael CG, and if you want to keep unraveling the Wednesday universe, I've got 2 videos waiting for you. Click one, and I'll meet you there in a few seconds.